Welcome everyone to my chess stream here on lichess and Twitch. I'm International Master William Paschall. We had a change in plans here. We're going to bring up an analysis board. Status Troll challenges me. Status Troll, you have to wait a few minutes if you don't mind. I want to do something first, but you can add the first place in line when we start playing. Let me add a board here. So window capture, okay. Bring it back up. I have to resize this. We are going to play some Blitz and Classical, but first I thought to try something different. Actually, I made it too small. Try something different. I want to go over a game, an over-the-board game I played with everybody here, because it's fresh in my mind. I played a game today, and I thought I have a little analysis session here with the viewers. A really interesting opening. I played today's Hungarian Team Championship, and I thought I'll take a look at it for maybe 25 minutes or so, start things off. Then we'll play some Blitz and Classical chess. So before we get started with the Blitz and Classical chess, I thought we'll devote 20-25 minutes taking a look at this game I played. It's not a long game, so I thought it would be fun for everyone to take a look at this. So again, welcome everyone. I'm International Master William Paschall. We're normally streaming the simul here. We're usually doing a simul on Sundays every week at 6:30 Central European Time. But I should let you know there is a bug with the lichess simul feature, and apparently everyone trying to start a simul in the last couple hours has been unable to accept entries. So the word on the street is that let me get my video up here. The word on the street is that it will be back fixed tomorrow, but it's of little help to us today here. So that's alright. We can skip the simul for 1 week, and we'll be back with it next week. We got 3 challenges, guys. So when we finish the analysis here, we can start playing some Blitz and Classical. Today I played in the Hungarian Team Championship on board 1 for my 2nd Division team, and I was playing white against a young Hungarian 15-year-old who played recently in the World Youth Championships. His name is Habashi Gergo. He's around 2,400 FIDE. I'm not sure if he has the IM title or yet, but if not, he will soon. So he's just about the same rating as me approximately, but quite a talented kid. And I think that it was known for him and for me that we'd be playing each other, because on the first table, this kind of team championship, you have a much better chance of predicting your opponent. If it's going to be the highest rated player on the list, that's the guy you usually prepare for. So you were so pumped for your first simul. I never realized that, Lord Alamo, you never played. Let's just make the best of it. So I'm going to show you guys here a game I played with the Habashi Gergo, because it's a really interesting opening. I'm playing white and I played e4, and this was the first surprise of the game. My opponent is not expecting me to play e4, and that's one of the things I've been kind of priming myself, thanks to you guys playing me here in the stream and whatnot. I've been kind of getting back into the habit of playing e4. If you haven't noticed, over the last couple weeks, I've been playing mostly e4, and because I realized in my last tournament I was getting too predictable. I was playing too much c4, knight f3, and it's really, in modern chess, I think, useful to have more than one go-to opening. So I've got to at least have the threat to play e4. And so I played e4, especially for this guy, because he plays a certain variation. Lately he's been playing a certain variation of the Spanish, which is a little bit risky. And he went into it. I was a little nervous he might go back when he sees the surprise of me playing e4. I was a little nervous he plays the Najdorf, or used to play the Najdorf, and I wasn't that well prepared, specifically for a Najdorf for this game. I had something ready, but I was hoping it would be a Spanish. It was a Spanish. We had Roy Lopez, bishop b5. So now Black plays a6, bishop a4, and here g6. So anybody raise their hand and tell me they know a little bit about this variation? See, the problem is the Smyslov, it's called the Smyslov variation. I think it's kind of misleading, basically because, I don't know, because Smyslov played it once against Kasparov in a famous game in like 1985. He didn't, I'm not sure it should necessarily be named after Smyslov, but if we look at the database here, lots of Ponomaryov games, Spidler games, a lot of people have played this line. And it's not that easy for white to get an advantage. So, lots and lots of games where people play c3. And to me, it seems very like kind of lame, you know. Honestly, if that's the best we get is like c3, d6, d4, bishop d7. It's basically like a Steinitz where black plays g6, and most everybody does that. But I wanted to try something sharper, so I played d4. This is another main line, but it's much more aggressive. And again, you know, e takes d4 is mostly that's played here. So I kind of prepared this for the guy, not knowing the theory that deep, but knowing for sure that he probably wouldn't know the theory any better than me in this. Now, bishop g5 and knight takes d4 are both pretty well known, but if you draw your attention, you know, to the statistics there, I'll hover my mouse. You can't see my mouse. My mouse, you can see, is hovering over this little thing over here. If you want to look, if you have the statistics turned on your engine, on the lichess, if you have the encyclopedia or database, if you want to look at that, do you guys see those statistics there? Like, it's a small sample size of games. White is winning like more than 50% of the games in this variation. And so I was preparing this thinking this is a good line for white. You know, white scores pretty well here. But the best score is 57%. We tried the c3. This is what Kasparov played against Smyslov. You see, game from 81. I mistakenly thought it was in 85 this game was played, but way back in like 1981. Kasparov was quite young. He took Smyslov out. So I think this was probably a candidates tournament to like qualify for the World Championship. Maybe the end of Smyslov's career, basically, as a really strong player. D takes C is really dangerous. The amazing thing here is how few games there are in this position theoretically. It seems like a really important position to me, you know, for this entire variation. D takes C is very dangerous for black. After D takes C, knight takes C3. It's kind of like a Mora gambit, but it's like a kind of good Mora gambit. White has a lot of positional compensation. So I was totally prepared to go into this kind of position. I looked at these games, Zagrabelny against Jinka and Bindrich, whoever that guy is, and I thought, well, these guys won these games. They were kind of unclear, but it's a fun position. It should be fun. My guy here went d3. He was very smart. He thought a long time, and he decided to give the pawn back, feed the pawn back, kind of classic. But here preparation was difficult because, you know what? I mean, there's only 3 games that, I mean, if we look in ChessBase, you'll find some more games, but most of them are like weak players. So not too many masters have reached this position, strangely enough. And this is, already I wasn't sure what to do. You know, maybe castles, maybe queen takes d3, maybe bishop g5. They're all interesting. Bobras, I think, played queen takes d3. The other guys, I think, played bishop g5. Queen takes d3. And now bishop g7. And this is my game from today. So we're kind of a new territory here. And Bobras, who's a pretty good player, played castles in this position. But I was honestly thinking about going postal on this guy. And so that's why I played bishop g5. I hadn't made up my mind yet if I was going to play like psycho aggressively or just positional game with a quiet, you know, kind of small advantage. After bishop g5, there's a very, very interesting thing here. I miscalculated this because I looked at this before I played bishop g5, and I really thought that knight e5 wasn't possible. But it turns out that it is possible. I calculated knight e5, knight takes e5, queen takes g5, bishop takes d7 check, king f8, bishop takes c8, this variation. I calculated this before I made my move, you know, bishop g5. My opponent didn't really think about it very long. He played like another move very quickly. But this is actually very unclear. And possible this is good for black. Bishop takes and king f8. I looked at this variation over the board, but I just thought that for sure I'm not worse after bishop takes c8, at the very least. But now, like, looking at it with the chess computer, it's not really that clear. It's really not that clear. After bishop takes c8, I thought that white is definitely not worse, but apparently I'm going to lose the g2 pawn. And what I didn't see, was this check here on c1. This is what I failed to see over the board. But I did have a fallback variation that's really interesting here. That's actually probably my best. So I saw this, of course, queen e3. And the computer likes this. This is a little bit better for white, probably. Queen e3, knight takes f3, g takes f3. We play a sharp game, probably castling queenside. Not necessarily. We still could possibly castle kingside. But white's better developed. The double pawns are kind of like giving us some attacking chances. So at the end of the day, I didn't make a mistake or anything. Just I probably should have calculated this a little more deeply than I actually did over the board. So anyway, bishop g5, maybe this is maybe a theoretical novelty, and it may be a good move. It felt very natural to me. What would Tal do in this position? He probably plays bishop g5. No simul today, Andrea. No, not a pity. You guys get to analyze and play blitz with me. So knight on g to e7 was played here. Now, does anybody have any suggestions here for what white should do in this position? Because I'm not really sure if I made the right move now. I really wanted to play for a win in this position, but I wasn't sure, what my options are. 3 candidate moves, really. Possibly 4 if you consider like bishop to b3 to be a move. It looks a little early to decide on that. You could even exchange on c6, but I don't think that's the greatest move. Even like an endgame would probably be okay for black. After like bishop takes c6, d takes c6, queen takes d8, king takes d8, even this kind of endgame probably defensible for black, but I think that in most cases people would take back with the pawn here toward the center. I'm not really sure white has the advantage, and there's counterplay for black along the b file. So I really think, guys, this again is my tournament game from Hungarian Team Championship today. I wanted to just share it and take a look at this. Yes, Sarontier, I think that h4 is really interesting, and that's what this was, I think, really critical. This was the real try to blow this guy out of the water. I mean, I think that a lot of strong players would have played h4. It doesn't mean it's the right move, but it's a very interesting move. I don't really trust the lichess, stockfish, browser-based chess engine here too much. But on a practical level, h4 is very, very interesting. And I think if you want to create maximum problems for the opponent, I'm sure that a Rapport or his hero Alexei Shirov would have probably played. It wouldn't take too much provocation to get Shirov to play the move h4. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it was a team championship, and I decided to err on the side of caution. If this was an individual tournament, I probably would have played h4 and really gone for it. But since it's a team championship, I have to, it was the first round too. I really, and I'm like the top board for my team, I really don't like to play like a maniac, So I didn't know if like h4 was being a maniac or if it was like just like aggressive and sound. But it's certainly interesting. So instead I played knight of bd2. And with this move I thought, well, I'm keeping my options open because depending on what happens, I could still think about playing h4 next move. If he does something weird, if he makes a bad move like b5 or some waste of time, then we can think about it here. I kind of expected him to play h6, honestly, which probably would, be maybe most flexible and active and accurate move order for black here. Yeah, Aussie passes. I mean, that's the really psychotically aggressive way of playing this position. h4, right, and just attack like a madman and castle queenside. Black's going to have counterplay. I mean, it's going to be kind of like a Sicilian or something like that. So, but if it wasn't a team championship, I would have given it a shot. And this is a new position, guys. This is a theoretical novelty. I played the move bishop g5. It's never been played before. Unless you guys can find it with a chess database, I couldn't find it. Any gains to this position after bishop g5. As far as I know, I created a new move here. But it's really interesting. Instead I played knight bd2. He castled. And now, I thought about doing h4 again, but, things are a little different now. I mean, he has things like rook e8. He can maybe go to the open file. So, also I have queen e3, but also awkward because potentially the e file. So I just kind of felt like I'm going to just play safe here. But after this, I don't think I really have an advantage. I castled kingside. Very kind of solid, but rather passive for white. So he plays h6. And now, what do? You could trade bishop, but I don't like it. I don't like giving up my dark squared bishop. So bishop e3 is interesting. But honestly, I didn't know. What's better to do? Like bishop h4, provoke him to weaken himself more. The bishop e3, some things I didn't like about it were like a knight might use the e3 square, and also it's a target for everything's a target for bishop getting hit by f5. Bishop h4 is also a target. So this engine thinks bishop e3. This move I just wasn't sure it doesn't get in the way of my pieces. So I played bishop h4. And after that, d6 now. It looks like it's equal. The next move is controversial by me. Maybe h3. Computers, this browser-based Stockfish saying h3. It's not a strong engine we're talking about here. This position, it's on dead equal, 0.1. I made a decision here. I mean, some people would even like to double the pawns. I don't really like it. It's not very dynamic. So rook e1, I think that's a good move. This was one of my ideas to play rook e1. Instead, I played bishop b3, which I thought isn't a bad move. It stops f5, and it forces him to make a decision about his king. So I thought bishop b3 is interesting. He plays king h8 in this position. Now rook e1. Rook on f to e1. And g5. And I don't have any kind of sacrifices. So it looks like I just don't see how I can sacrifice a piece on g5 here. Bishop g3. My bishop's not great, but it's pretty solid. Now he plays f5. And I have to take. I think I have to take here. Look at his king. I mean, he's one sacrifice away from getting checkmated. If my queen was on e2, I'd have knight takes g5, and he could resign, basically. But unfortunately, he's threatening to trap a piece here. I don't want to play h3, have my bishop hemmed in on h2 in this position. So each chip said knight a5. Knight a5 is interesting. Knight a5, but it's probably dangerous, I mean, maybe earlier, like right away, knight a5 instead of king h8. But now it's probably too late. So I wasn't sure. You got to watch out for this diagonal. This tandem is very, very dangerous. So I'm not sure. Knight a5 is kind of on the margins. Knight a5 also takes away control of the center. So I'm not sure. Maybe a move earlier here. You could consider knight a5, for example. But fundamentally, I like the idea that knight a5 actually, takes his knight away from the center and gives me, better control of the center in a sense. So, actual game, king h8, rook e1, g5, bishop g3, f5. Here I was really concerned that I may have screwed up, that I maybe lost the initiative and black was better. But then I started looking at the position and thinking, you know what? I mean, there's no way I'm worse here because this guy's king is very airy, and one little mistake and my structure is very sound. I have to take. And then here I guess he could take with the knight or with the bishop, technically. I'm not really sure which one is better. at all in this position. I don't know, which recapture is better for black here. It feels a little more natural to develop as he did with bishop takes. But you could make an argument for knight takes f5. And you just like going to get my bishop eventually and have the bishop pair. But as I said earlier, bishop c2, this is like no end of trouble for black. The bishop on c2. So I don't know. It seems like the way he played it is the safest. And after this, the problem is I have a queen problem in this position. And I'm like, I'm serious. I think that Magnus might have played like queen f1 for a win in this. I'm not sure, Like he seriously might have played queen f1. Because after my move, queen e2, he can't like do h5 or something crazy. He'll just lose. He has to be very careful about sacrifices on g5. He played knight g6, probably best move. And then in this position, I was kind of happy with my position. It's pretty solid. I must stop g4 because I have to have a square for my knight. I mean, he's starting g4 when he'll just win material. So I have to play h3, a very Karpovian move. White's position is solid here, but I was actually surprised. I don't know. I don't know what I expected him to play here. I really don't know. I don't know what I expected him to play in this position because when he played rook e8, which is probably the best move, I was actually visibly kind of upset. Like I didn't expect that move, but I'm not really sure what I expected him to play, honestly. I don't know what I expected him to play in this position. The thing is that like the only natural move, queen d7, like loses. I just play knight takes g5, and it's just over after knight takes g5 and here. So I don't know what to do, but after rook e8, I didn't see what to do. It looks like I have two choices. I can be like Magnus Carlsen and do like queen f1. Should I play like queen f1 for a win? Am I seriously playing queen f1 for a win in this position? I mean, it seems kind of ridiculous, honestly. Like queen f1. Am I playing this for a win? So I just played queen takes e8 and offered the guy a draw. I don't see I don't see any advantage for white anymore. So he thought for a while, and this was a draw. It looks like it's dead equal according to the Stockfish engine. But the interesting question really is, I think, we go back, queen e3 as he passes. Actually, okay, queen e3. Why didn't I like queen e3? It's a candidate move. It's a candidate move. This is a valid move, queen e3. But like the engine is saying, the problem is the queen can get hit. It gets hit by like knight f5 at some point. So he moves the bishop away. Maybe hitting my queen with knight f5. It's kind of vulnerable on e3, but it's playable. I guess this is a playable move. I just didn't like the fact that the queen doesn't have a single square. I mean, kind of making me nervous. It almost doesn't have a single square. It can go back to e2, but I think it's interesting, but it's probably not as safe. This is a safer move. And plus, the other thing about queen e2 is that it sets up these tactics on h5. It's setting up, the forced win, queen d7. This is a very important concept of playing like queen d7, knight takes g5, and queen h5 giving mate there is very important. So I think it was best. Even queen f1 is interesting, though. I mean, this is probably an interesting move. And my move was probably the most normal move. And maybe he should have tried something like bishop g6. He did knight g6, and then h3 is forced, and now rook e8. And I was surprised, but I don't see a better move for black here. He could maybe trade pieces with like knight e5, but I don't think that really is necessarily good for black. He has a lot of weaknesses on the white squares and stuff. So, but if we go back, one last mention here, really, I mean, I think the game kind of hinged on this. If I want to win this game really bad, then maybe this is the way to go. Maybe the honest truth is that a Tal or a really top aggressive GM. But I'm afraid, that I'm playing like a maniac here. Maybe it's not my style. I don't know, like if it's safe or not, or maybe the position just needs to be subjected to to a deeper analysis. But anyway. All right, guys. So that's it. That was it, a draw. But it was an interesting opening, you know, and kind of like, at least not a totally boring draw against Havashi Gergo in Hungarian Team Championship. So now, again, for those of you that just joined us, we are starting Blitz Classical session here for 2 hours because our normal Sunday simul was unable to take place because of a bug on lichess with simul. So apparently it'll be fixed tomorrow, but just in time for my Sunday simul, we cannot do a simul today because there was a problem with the simul feature. So we will be back next week with the simul, but we're going to play some Blitz and Classical chess here today now. International Master William Paschall against you guys. We got a ton of challenges. I'll never get to all you guys. I've got 2 hours. So we'll play as many as we can get to in the list. Probably like 6 or 7 games. Alright. M47, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. In the theme of today, we're going to play E4. I hope you'll do more of these analysis of your board games in the future. Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully I'll be playing more of the board games in the future. That's my biggest problem, that I haven't played much. Actually, a word of caution, I will be going away to a tournament November 17th to 24th. So 1 week I won't be streaming in the near future. Alright, I'm going to play knight f3. We're going to hope for the best. Normally I play d4 against the Nimzovich, but after today's game, I'm kind of hungry for another Lopez. So welcome everyone to my stream. I'm International Master William Paschall. We're doing a sort of substitute stream today. Blitz and Classical chess with commentary. Something looks strange about I guess I'm used to seeing the board on a different size or something. Did they change the size of the ratings? It looks different. Something's different. Some kind of update? That looks different, doesn't it? Is that number, is that sized differently than it used to be? Or is it my imagination? Bishop a4. Are the rating numbers on the right there on the scorecard or score sheet, are those sized differently? Alright, so Lopez, normal Lopez, knight f6. We're going to castle. Asi passes. Yeah, I love to do analysis if everybody else is into it. Normally I'm doing simuls on Sunday. I mean, there's a lot of streamers doing other stuff like tournaments and whatnot here, but the simuls are something special, and I am sorry that we couldn't do it tonight. Bishop to b3. For those of you that don't know, we usually play 25 board simul at this time, starting 6:30, but couldn't do it tonight. Fran Comba said, do you stream tomorrow? Yeah, we stream Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. Central European time. I don't have to say Central European summertime anymore. Or do I? Yeah, I guess I still have to say that for 1 more week. No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm getting confused. You know, it's hard when you like come from one continent and you move to another continent, and then like your time frame is totally screwed up. Yeah, we just changed time here. And we're no longer summertime. Okay, bishop e7. Strange move order by m47. Actually, I said it's a strange move order, but not really. He's supposed to play bishop e7 first. I don't really know there's anything you can do to take advantage of this. b5 early. I mean, normally bishop e7. He's avoiding the double delayed exchange variation or whatever, committing himself to b5. After that, I guess there are independent tries for white, like d4 or something. Knight g5. Knight g5, d5. Not really a problem, I think, for black. I got to get to the current position. I'm trying to make a move. All right, rook e1. He still hasn't protected his e5 pawn. Same here in Italy. Yeah, we changed the normal time, exactly. But originally being an American, I get really confused living in Europe. It's a shame the whole world doesn't at least change time at the same time. But, so North America, well, most of North America changes time next next week on November 6th. Castles, and now c3 allows the marshal attack. I think we're going to go for it. Yeah, I don't recall playing a marshal on the stream before. So welcome everyone. I think we've got enough challenges. We've got 2 hours. Usually I stream for 2.5 hours, but we did half an hour of analysis. I wanted to do that, show you guys such an interesting game. He did play the marshal. I think this is our first on-stream marshal with white. E takes D. And my theory is not real up to date in the marshal. So, again, I'm like Alexander Ivanov school here in my old influence from New England. The Alexander Ivanov school means that you play D3 rather than D4. This variation has a lot going for it. You know, I think there's a big difference. You don't weaken as many squares with D3 as you do with D4. So I really do prefer it. Bishop D6 now. I've seen people play weird moves like rook E2 before. I don't think you can do that here. To do rook E1. Rook E1, queen H4, G3, queen H3, rook E4. Right? Frank Coma says, I like the bishop D6 line more. It's a classical martial line. Well, he played bishop D6. I mean, I'm the one that played D3 instead of D4. He can't control what I do. But you mean you like it better for white? It's unclear which line is better. There are a lot more games with D4, but at the end of the day, if you look at the statistics, I think you'll find that D3 doesn't score worse. It might even score better than D4. There's a big difference, you know, white having extra control of the E4 square because of the pawn on D3. Yuru, and I don't know if you're with us, but I wanted to welcome you to my stream. Kind of a surprise stream. Everybody expected me to be doing a simul tonight, and I think that's why our viewership is a little bit down. There's a bunch of other streamers. I don't like to do like blitz classical streams, usually on the weekend. I'm saving that time for the simul, so we may not have the viewership that we usually have. But anyway, we'll just have some fun here tonight. Queen H3, rook E4 now. This is the idea. Bishop F5 now. Typical move, very strong. Now anyway, guys, I'm really happy just to be here now. Knight F6. This has been a while since I played this. I was just kidding about Bishop F5 last move. He gets his queen trapped if he does that. It's been a while since I played this line, so I have to take some time here. Malotz seems to be prepared. So Knight F6, Rook H4, Queen F5. And then I think I'm supposed to play Knight D2 there. But after Rook H4, he can also play Queen D7. And there were some really weird games. I remember some really weird games where a friend of mine was playing with Ivanov, with black. You know, my friend was black, and they had some crazy games with like Rook H4 and Rook H6 and stuff like that. So we got to get you out of there. Guitar player, Guitar Blah, is he's hiding. I don't know. He got all upset one time when I asked him, how it's possible he plays like a strong expert if he's never played in a tournament game. Since that incident, he hasn't really been around very much. Okay, now Queen F5. This stops the move Bishop G5 for me. It it obviously hinges on me finding the right move here. Yeah, knight d2 g5, and then I think I go back to e4. Rook takes e4. Rook e4, knight takes e4, knight takes e4. Some compensation maybe. I believe that's theory. Knight d2 now. You guys forgive me if I blunder and lose this game. I'm getting it a little bit low on time. I haven't studied this in a long time. I can't say the same for Mullets because he probably has. Gladys Troll, we know you have some issues with boredom. That's why I don't understand why you're so slow. You'd think that you would be really fast. But you're always losing on time. Usually people that get bored really easily do stuff too fast. But you get bored really easily, but you're still slow. Knight to d2. Yeah, I mean, chess isn't really the game for the person who's kind of like in a hurry. I'm not a bullet player. So I guess theory is Queen d7 is the main line instead of Queen f5, I think. Now here we have some interesting options, but we have to be careful. You don't want to like blunder a rook e1 check. Rook e1 check is problematic in some positions. Now knight e4 looks very logical here. Knight e4. Am I missing something obvious here? Knight e4. I also have bishop c2. It looks kind of slow. We're down to 2 minutes. Salty Ego says must be my lucky day. Yeah, normally we're doing the simul, Salty Ego. Thanks for your email the other day. I'm really busy during the weekend, so usually if you guys email me like Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I'll probably not answer you till Monday. I'm usually like playing poker Friday night until 5 in the morning, and then it takes me a while to kind of recover on Saturday, and then Sunday I might have a team game or something like that. So, and now I have this. So usually my weekends are pretty booked up, and if you send me an email on a Friday, don't expect to hear from me till Monday. 94. Anyway, if you guys want to contact me for anything regarding chess, please feel free to do so. My email is videochesstrainer@gmail.com. Gladys Troll is slow against me. You're that slow. You want to try your best. You should always try your best, Troll. Take all your opponents seriously, like as if they were Kasparov. And you can never go wrong. Seriously, I don't think there's anything to be gained from taking anybody lightly. Alright. Bishop c2. just shoring up the e5 square. It takes my bishop off the diagonal, but who cares? I mean, I don't have anything going on f7 anyway here. Just, I'm trying to consolidate, basically. There may have been better moves. I don't like bishop c2 that much because it's not a developing move. I would prefer to make a developing move here. But it looked fairly solid, so I decided to go with it. But I'm still not sure. Objectively, it was the best move. I'm very, very rarely sure that my moves are objectively the best move, actually. That was much the case, definitely the case today. Against Habashi Gergo. That's, I really wanted to play for a win, but it's awkward when you're playing in a team championship. I'm normally pretty conservative about taking risks, and when I'm playing for a team, I'm usually kind of doubly so. I thought I could kind of play and try to keep some kind of small edge. I noticed his endgame technique wasn't great, so if I could get to like a relative equal or slightly better ending, he'd been getting ground down in some games by some experienced players, so I wanted to keep that possibility alive. Alright, now knight d5, combative move, avoiding the exchange of pieces. But queen h5. Take, kind of awkward though. He's got f5. I really, really need to watch out for the E file in this kind of position. So ultimately, you know, taking care of development is pretty important. With bishop d2, maybe I had d4. Looks kind of risky. As I said, I want to complete my development. I'm sure the computer engine will rip us apart for making some inaccuracies here. It was a draw. Oh, my team, duh. My team got slaughtered. If I had known they were going to get slaughtered so bad, it's a really weak team. I'm actually kind of upset about it because some weird stuff happened with my team and another team kind of merged together. So I feel like some shady business occurred. But anyway, now this looks pretty good for white. d4. Is it time to play d4? Shady business occurred, and I mean, our team kind of got shortchanged by the other team that we merged with. So we have a pretty weak team for the second division, and not only that, but our whole team just basically underperformed as well. If rook takes h7 here, it looks like massively brutal. I'm not sure this is bad for me. Thank you for the game, sir. Rook takes h7 looks pretty strong, but who knows? There might be a defense. I thought that would at least make you lose on time. Aussie passes. Thanks for the help in the analysis there, contributing. I've never really done analysis sessions here on the stream, although it's something we could do in the future. Let's try e4 again. Railbird 80. So my team lost 9-3. I mean that's as bad as it gets. There were 6 draws and six losses. But anyway, I was pretty disappointed that they decided to ask me to play the top board for this team instead of like one of the bottom boards in the first division. Objectively, on a personal level, it might be better for me because it's very possible that if I'm playing like first board in the second division, I play a stronger field than I would play as like 10th, 11th, 12th board in the first division. But still, I thought it would be fun to play in the first division. Usually I play in... I haven't played in the first division very often. I think just once or twice. But my team isn't very competitive. I think the team is just going to have to avoid relegation. That's about all they can do this year. Knight on b to d7, knight f3. I don't know. You can play f4 there, but I'm not really a big expert. I think I've done that on the stream before. Francoma asked if I play cash games. No, I'm not a cash game player. I mean, I do play cash games, but I'm not a great cash game player. I'm really just... We're talking about poker. I play just... I'm trained really in tournaments and sit and goes. I'm not a trained cash player. I play cash for fun. I play in some pretty decent home games, but it's not my thing. Talking about poker, I'm not really a cash player. I'm a tournament player. A lot of people say that's stupid. Poker is poker, but there are a lot of there are a lot of differences between cash and you don't necessarily have to be universal. I'm not really a great cash player. I get bored with cash. Speaking of, I sound like the saddest troll now. I actually, I like the fact that tournaments have that additional variable of, changing blind structures. So I think for a chess player, tournament poker is a much more logical choice than cash. All right, so c6. Okay, we're playing like, well, main line, Philidor, which I don't know very deeply. Queen e2 is main line, but I haven't had good results when I've done this, and everybody knows the theory in this Philidor, like 100 moves deep. So maybe it's time to try something different. Rook e1 is a move that makes a lot of sense, and I've seen a lot of top players play this now. Aussie passes, maybe we played this before. I really, I don't like to see this kind of line. It looks incorrect to me, black to play like this. But I know that it's probably been worked out by the top Philidor experts in the world. On which place I am? Just need to know. Oh, you're Hunt the King? Yeah, Hunt the King. You're like 4th from the top. So we're going to play until probably not, after too much longer after 9 o'clock. I can't even talk. Like, stuttering. I don't know why. I'm a little tired from the tournament game today. Knight f8. Yeah, well, obviously we saw this from somebody recently, like g5, and maybe it was you, but it's sort of coffee house like type of formation for black. Still, at the same time, it's hard for white to do anything. So that's the problem, right? Knight h4. You're kind of asking for that, aren't you? Knight h4. It's got to be the right move, right? Knight h4, knight takes e4. Let's just try it and see what happens. Tournament poker is very frustrating. As I said, I'm going to a chess tournament November 17th, 28th. No, November 17th to 24th. But I am probably going to play some side events at EPT Prague, European Poker Tour in Prague. If anybody's going to be there, I don't know if there's any Czech chess and poker players or poker players here watching my stream, but or anybody else for that matter. Last year I saw a couple chess players. They do have a chess event. I don't know if I'll be able to hang out there long enough to play in that. It's like one of the last events at EPT Prague. But just a small buy-in, like 200 euros. But I'm gonna go there and probably play some side events, maybe like the Eureka main event for 1,000 euros and some other side events for 500, maybe a 2,000. But I don't know if I feel like risking that much on one tournament. Anyway, I try to play a little bit of poker, not to like forget how to play, because I love poker too. But I mean, chess will always be my first, and deepest love. I played chess seriously for over 30 years. Railbird80 says he knows Philidor's defense. 100 moves deep. I mean, I don't know the theory. I just assume that knight h4 is the logical choice here. We have to watch the fact that it's indirectly attacked by the bishop on e7. But we're kind of helped by the fact that his queen is on c7. It takes one of the attackers away. Maybe they're going to lose fast. Guys, we're up to 26 viewers. What's up with that? I know there's like 3 guys streaming the Elite Blitz Championship. But I don't think I can handle playing a serious tournament game in the morning and then doing like a long tournament here on lichess the same day. And I don't really like playing like very serious games in the evening. I'm usually preferring to play in the morning when I'm fresh. I want to play quality games. That's the most important thing. I like learn from these streams with you guys. And today was like my first E4 game in 2 years, which is pretty cool. I don't think I played E4 with white in like 2 years, and I prepared for it by playing these streams with you guys here on the site. And we managed to create like a new addition to chess theory in the Smyslov variation of the Spanish. Maybe I didn't win, but I contributed something, a new idea. Hopefully a new idea. We still have to double check with the chess-based database, but according to the lichess master database, nobody's played my move bishop g5 before. Alright, so g6, well, what are we doing here? Now we induce the weakness, g6. Black's trying to play maybe knight e6 and get control of the center. So could we do psychotic type of f4? That looks very dangerous, to say the least. What to do, though? It's hard to keep the tension. I really want to go knight takes e4. I couldn't make sure it works. Yeah, I know what you mean. I can see that. g3 is even playable. Then knight e6, d5. Wow, this is really bizarre. Asi passes. Where are you from? Greece? I don't know. We don't know where he's from, but he's pretty strong. It's only 1655, but he knows this opening pretty well. f4, pawn takes f4, like e5. Looks kind of risky. If we just go back to f3, feels like a fail. Feels like a fail. h3 maybe? I feel like I'm weakening my king side. I am weakening my king side. That's why I feel like I'm weakening my king side. I don't really want pieces in on g4. h3 is a reasonable sort of prophylactic move. Well, you have knight takes e4, but I mean, I take with the rook and I'm protecting my knight, so it's not that simple. Now I'm going back. I think I'm going back now. I don't want to take on e5. But I'm not sure about this. Asi Pessis is from Finland. I couldn't guess it from your name, really. I don't know. I see double S's and I think it's like Greek or something. There's a GM who's 75 years old. King Crusher's killing in the Elite Blitz Arena. Some GMs in there. A GM who's 75 years old on lichess. Now what? Should I play d5? I guess d5. I hate this move. But he's like threatening to hurt me on the king side. I don't think this is a great move, honestly. d5. It's a really, really lame move. I wasn't sure what to do, though. Like, en passant. En passant. Never thought about it. Black is probably better now. Bishop takes. Yeah, this looks very strong for black. I have to be careful not to be worse here. Knight h2. I'll never get you off of f4. Knight e2. Maybe I should just take. Just take right away. It's sort of awful though. I really don't like doing this. Leaves me with a kind of passive position. I'm not even sure king h2 is the right move. I think we've played into black's whole strategy here, but 1500, man, I mean, I wish I could play as good as that when I was 1500. You've outplayed me. Looks like black is just better now. I have to be very careful. I did not solve my problems in this position. I'm just gonna play blitz now. Black is better here. Okay, his king is in the center, so it's never like a cakewalk for black. He's achieved something, but at the same time, it's not that easy to develop because he doesn't have a lot of space in the center, and his king is still in the center. So, nevertheless, I prefer black. The dark squared bishop looks bad, but it's actually a very good defender. Has some offensive. Has some offensive power, a latent potential later. Well, that's not a good arrow. Maybe even back to d8 and out this way sometimes. I'm having trouble putting pressure on this d6 pawn. Bishop d7 is reasonable. He's going to try to castle queenside. My knights aren't bad, but my bishop is pretty bad. But he can't just drop the f7 pawn unless he has a concrete idea about sacrificing that guy. So I like the opening. I don't know. I screwed up letting him play knight f4. This is really bad. To let black play knight f4, I have to take it. I didn't play this correctly. This is just a travesty. d5, but what could I do at that point? This is the whole concept. Basically, I let black execute the whole trick of this variation. That's his whole idea, to get this kind of thing to happen. So something after knight h4, g6. I mean, this position should be good for white, and I'm fairly confident about that. But instead of playing this h3, I had to find a better move. I'm just not sure what it is. Now knight h7. Got take. Maybe rook d1. Maybe we take. Massive center for black. Looks like a total success. I'm just hoping for some sort of tactics here. Looks like I don't really have it. Saying a lot of ums. It's usually a bad sign. Queen c4. Kind of cheapo. Now I have knight d5, but he doesn't have to take, and then I'm left in this eternal pin. So that's not on. Therefore, queen a6. And again, black simply got more of the center. I would prefer black. Still not that simple because his king's in the center, but if you have to choose a side, I would say black is better. Bishop takes e6. Knight takes g5. What a weird position this is. It's just super weird. And what about my knight? Now you just found that. That's pretty good. g4. Maybe g3 was a better move. I'm not sure. But I mean, objectively, we're pretty solid here. Well, we were. I still have rook g2. But I mean, it's a pretty good game for black so far. I don't think he played perfectly, but black's still keeping the advantage after 26 moves. Although maybe I'm out of the woods for the most part here. Like no direct danger. It's like he dropped a pawn. And maybe we could sack in exchange, but there's no need to be fancy. So I thought you played tremendously. Just didn't find like the best way, kind of in the complications here. Opening was an absolute success for black. This is basically lost. Just close up the king side. I could even think about taking on g5. This is probably safer. I still have to secure myself. Secure my second rank. This is very important. He lost on time, but I wasn't happy with that game. So the opening strategy failed for me. That's the second time I've had sort of issues with that variation. I always say you noobs are better, even if the position is equal. Well, it's not just you noobs. I mean, I think that I'm, you know, sort of always doing that in all my games. I'm kind of pessimistic, evaluating my position pessimistically in most cases. FIDE Master Strength, Strong Player 2380. This was a distinct possibility that my opponent today would have played the Sicilian, but he hadn't lately, so I was kind of expecting he wouldn't. Possibility was there. FIDE Master Strength, I don't remember if we played, we don't have uptime here, Skirmisher. A6, I don't think we played Sicilian Najdorf. Usually I play Bishop C4. I guess we'll try it. It's kind of my main weapon. I don't know that I was going to play it today, though. Uptime is 64 minutes. B5 main line. Castles. Sozin Najdorf. Bishop e7. We're still in main line, right? So queen f3 is I think queen f3 is the main move, if I'm not mistaken. This is 5-3. I have to adjust. This time control is faster. If you guys want to play, please challenge me something between 5 and 8 minutes with a small increment. Usually at the longer end of the time limits, like 7-8 minutes, I ask, that you just ask for a 3-second increment. If we play a faster game like this blitz, I'm okay with like a 5-second increment. I played that opening a couple times before against you with a slightly different move order. Fared a lot better this time. Yeah, I know better than to go into that. Well, I think last time I played something with queen e2, probably not knight or not rook e1. I don't recall playing rook e1 lately in a game. Queen e2 is the older kind of standard line. I know that rook e1 is played. Maybe I'll start playing g3 against the Philidor. It seems similar to like the Pirts and very solid. What is this? Queen b6, right? Bishop e3. I had this game with Igor Novikov, the disappeared grandmaster. He's a big knight, or was, if he's still alive. I don't know what happened to him. He was a big expert. So, yeah, I guess against Novikov I played queen g3, and he played knight bd7, like some kind of sacrifice or something, if I remember correctly. But I mean, a3 has to be okay for white here. It's just that it's kind of passive. I must be getting the positions confused. It's been a while since my game with Novikov, and I don't remember playing a3 against Novikov, and I don't remember b4. How could that be possible? Maybe he played knight bd7 instead of b4. That looks like it would allow bishop takes e6. We'll have to ask Boris Gelfand what's going on here. I might have just made a mistake. But I should definitely relearn the theory on this line if I'm ever going to play it in a tournament game. I would have played, if I had had a game like today, I would have played differently probably. Yeah, this is something like my Gelfand Novikov game. Bishop takes e6, pawn takes e6, knight takes e6. Is probably some kind of weird theory, actually. What could have been my game with Novikov? Like f3, and then like lots of things. It's just no time to try to remember some old game. All right, we just have to play. Chess. Bishop h6. Not real clear. not sure about c3 either. Okay, it's just 5 minutes blitz. I mean, anything could happen here. I don't know. I don't have a clue what's going on. I don't have a clue what's going on, guys. I never saw a sacrifice that works. Bishop h6, knight h5 doesn't look right. I guess I could play that. Bishop h6, knight e8 would be safer for black. You could do stuff like, instead of c3, bishop h6, and if knight e8, knight takes e6, pawn takes e6, bishop takes e6, check. And then king h8, bishop d5. I'm kind of happy he played it this way because it's simpler. But it looks quite safe for black as well, to be honest. No, I don't see any point in bishop h6 now, actually. Bishop h6, just knight e8, and I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I have an idea. I have an idea? Not really. Okay. Rook fd1 or something like that. White's position looks kind of lame. I don't really have anything here. I could even be worse in this position. Guys, we're going to be streaming until 9, so we have time for probably like 4 or 5, for at least 4 more games. If they're the blitz games, then there's more possible. I'm playing up to 8 minutes. There was a lichess simul bug. Wow, d5. Now that's a move I totally didn't expect. I've got 2 ways to play. e5 or take. But taking. What's he gonna do? Like, what's he gonna do? What's the point here? That's fine. So I can take back either way. I'm getting kind of low on time. It's a seems a pity to. Okay, let's do rook e1. It seems a pity to move my queen off of g3 with that mate threat there. He's immediately exploiting f4. Sexploitation. f4 is an ugly positional move, but I get this. He does rook takes c3. Pretty neat resource. I don't want to drop anything here. somewhat... Okay. Strike while the iron is hot, is what they say. Whoa. Gotta watch the back rank. 10, 9, 8. Somehow I don't think FIDE Master Strength is a morning person. He seems he's playing better now. Oh, did I just blunder? Not clear. God, I'm like almost losing on time. I don't think that was the best sequence for me for the last several moves. Why the heck did I trade queens? If you played f5, you might be better there. Possibly a slightly panic exchange sacrifice, but I was really concerned. This is a stupid move. Stupidest move of all time, probably. All right. You can force a draw by rook a7, basically. This should be a draw. It's going to be kind of hard to make progress here. I have the feeling. F4. Wow. That's pretty ambitious. I think you're taking some chances there. I'm not so sure. I mean, his king is cut off here. Maybe this is a draw, but this king cut off. Does it matter? Probably losing with the king cut off. This is the greatest in-game technique from both of us ever in the history of chess. Yep. Not a pretty endgame. Obviously, there should be a draw. Morphy Fisher, I haven't seen you in a while. Hope it's going well. Practice those endgames. Well, I mean, it's easy to lose, even if you know the technique. It's easy to lose. Sometimes, when you get a little bit tired in a blitz game, I'm sure that Master would know how to draw it. Sometimes in the heat of battle, we make some funny moves. I thought the easiest way to draw would have been to grab my A pawn in exchange for his H7 pawn to reach 2 against 1. But I'm sure he had a million draws. Yeah, they can't accept players. Thibault said that I think it's a matter of the new code. Like when something is corrected, the new code doesn't go into effect till the next day. I don't know why I was going to play the Najdorf. I never play the Najdorf. So Morphy Fisher with a Sozin attack. Different though. This is not the Najdorf. This is a classical Scheveningen type of formation for black. Guys, I had a tournament game today in the Hungarian Team Championship. We analyzed a little bit. If you watch the replay of the stream, which I'll upload tomorrow morning, you can check out analysis of a draw I had today in Hungarian Team Championship. We analyzed it for like 25-30 minutes here on the stream. Okay, so Bishop E3. This is the most aggressive. White doesn't commit to castling King's side necessarily. A3. I play that system often, but not with the bishop necessarily committed early to E3. Here black could play D5, probably. But I would prefer to play something that keeps more play in the position. I think when white plays A3 or A4, in most cases, that's a signal that he's not going to be able to or not going to try to castle queenside. As I played these positions for both sides, that's my experience. So most of the scariest variations are Bishop B3, followed by that's Bishop B3, followed by Queen E2 and castle queenside. The so-called Velimirovich attack, named after the famous Yugoslav grandmaster Velimirovich. Queen D2. It's an unusual piece configuration for white in the Sozin with the bishop on C4 and no knight G4. So I can play knight to G4 here, and you don't really have a good place to put that piece. Knight to G4, knight takes C6. And then, then you just simply help me, So I think this is definitely the exploitation of Queen D2. Bishop and knight checkmate actually almost happened in my team championship. One of our bottom boards. We were losing. We weren't sure if the opponent could do bishop and knight checkmate, but yeah, they could. I mean, pretty much anybody who's around 2000, really, if you're 2000 or higher, I mean, you should be competent. And really even lower. I mean, anybody who's 1700 or 1800 should really know how to do bishop and knight checkmate. I was at the team championship a really long time. One of our games was 2 knights versus pawn. Our player had the pawn and the other guy had 2 knights. And, you know, it depends on where the pawn is, because if the pawn isn't very far advanced, the two knights can actually set up mating nets, because the pawn will have to lose tempi later on. So it's very tricky, a very, very tricky ending. But our guy, you know, his pawn was far enough advanced that he wasn't in any danger. But it nevertheless took forever. It was like a 200 move game, because the opponent just kept trying and trying and trying. But you cannot checkmate by force with two knights against king. Some people have successfully done it. It's objectively not possible to force the mate with those pieces. You can stumble into mate. We're up to 43 viewers. We're a little slow starting. I think a lot of people expected my simul, and didn't take place because there's a bug. For those of you that don't know me, I'm International Master William Paschall. We're streaming from Budapest, Hungary. We're going to be streaming for another hour here on lichess, playing blitz and classical with commentary. We did a little analysis session of a game I played, and then started playing blitz and classical. If you'd like to play, please send me a challenge. 5 to 8 minutes with a small increment. Now, black has the dark squared bishop. This is a monster piece. It's relatively quiet at the moment. It's a good defender, but it's also a piece that could become very, very powerful in this position, especially on this diagonal, for example. So we're kind of marking our time, you know, biding our time would be a better way to put it. We're biding our time. But I do need to improve the rest of my pieces here. So maybe knight takes d4. Knight takes d4 kind of helps him develop a little bit. So I haven't been in a hurry to do that. But on the other hand, I mean, if you think about it, oftentimes guys, ladies and gentlemen, should I say? When I say guys, I mean it in a guy's kind of asexual way, you know. So we're welcoming guys and girls, all as guys. That sounds stupid. Knight a5, it takes away the chance to trade this guy off, or girl, whatever it is. Knight on d4. I don't mean to be sexist when I say guys. Knight takes d4. Yeah, so do I leave it there where it just remains really powerful, or do I trade it off? Maybe just bishop d7, wait, biding the time again. This bishop isn't doing much on c8. But objectively, black's better. Visually, like a beginner will think like white's better in this position, because white has two pawns or pieces on the fourth rank. More aggressively looking pieces, aggressively placed looking pieces. But in reality, I think the more important factor is the dark squared bishop, and therefore black is probably better here. I mean, white is far from lost, but most strong players would prefer to be black. I think prefer to be black in this position. Here's the most instructive stream on lichess that I've come across, as well as the most entertaining. Well, we try. Thank you for the compliment. You always forgot about what corner the king should go to. Opposite the bishop or the same? Oh, the bishop and knight? No, you want to go opposite. Then there's two pieces that can checkmate you on that color on the corner. Yeah, you want it to be the opposite. I had to checkmate Vladimir Georgiev in the U.S. Masters once to qualify for the U.S. Championship and win a nice prize, and it was a bishop and knight, and then he like resigned like one move before mate. It was so like anticlimactic. Why does he play it out for like 30 moves? He's gonna resign like one move before mate. That was sort of disappointing. Have you ever done bishop and knight checkmate against a grandmaster? I mean, most grandmasters would have probably resigned, but it was a money game in the last round, and I think he didn't want to give up. There was the tiniest hope of salvation. Why are you living in Budapest? This is like, that's one of our top 10 questions. why not? I'm hiding from World War III in the neutral zone. That's my new answer. But no, seriously, I moved here to I don't know, do I take the bishop? I don't see any reason to take it. I don't have to do anything. Although if I don't do something, he might play c4. So maybe b5 actually. Budapest, I moved here to play chess because there are not that many tournaments in North America, and it's expensive to travel to tournaments there. And Hungary has a really good, especially in the past, not as much lately, but had a really, really good system for a lot of round-robin, Grandmaster Norm type tournaments and stuff like that. So Hungary has a rich history and culture for chess. It's a fairly inexpensive country compared to the United States. Much more so in the past, but still. And people are generally pretty friendly. And I established a lot of connections here, so that's why I've stayed. But basically, I came, at first for chess. So queen g3, he's bearing down on g7. He might have some attacking chances. And yeah, king h8 is worth considering, probably. I mean, anyway, it's a typical kind of motif to get the king off this diagonal. If you get the king off that diagonal, it's hard for his bishop to do any damage. But the second thing is that, he has frontal threats, like knight f4. I could even consider something crazy like g5. I mean, because my dark square control is so good. You could do like g5, rook g8, rook g7, or rook g6. White doesn't have a dark squared bishop, and that's a huge weakness in this kind of Sicilian. It's his best attacking piece, usually. So the whole complex of dark squares is kind of hard for him to control. My dark squared bishop. Now where did you get that idea, sir? Knight h5, this kind of primitive mating threat, possible piece sacrifices on e6. But white's position looks a little bit artificial, I would say. But I definitely want to move quickly here. Rook g8, queen c5 looks like a good move. Stopping knight h5. e5 might be a good square for my queen. It puts indirect pressure on f2. I have to be careful here, though. I just realized, he could do like a sacrifice on e6. Which is probably very interesting. Can you move the opponent's pieces after he resigns? No, you have to actually go to an analysis board. Just to show the opponent the mate. No, we can go to an analysis board after the game on lichess. Morphy Fisher, he's 2003. That's a respectable rating. We've got 5 games. I'm not going to be able to play 5 challengers. I think it depends if if we were playing only blitz games, it might be possible. But I'm welcoming challenges also, as long as like this game, like 8 minutes with a 3-second increment. So we're going to be playing for 1 more hour basically, and If they're longer games, it'll probably be about 4 games. If they're faster games, 5 or 6. I showed you an interesting move there, Bishop takes e6. I'm serious. I think that was the best move, probably. This is more uncompromising, but he's not actually threatening anything here. Bishop c6 is interesting. This knight on a5 is getting a little ridiculous, though. So, taking opens up the file. I'd rather, do this on my terms. His bishop is dead with my knight on c4. It's not going anywhere. He can take if he wants to. White's probably okay. He doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. Now, we have an interesting decision here. I mean, it could be possible to take with the b-pawn. He doesn't have 95. The problem is queen takes. What is the problem? Okay, I don't know. There's no problem with it, actually. There's nothing wrong with taking. The queen remains powerful on c5. And he has this, but my pawns. I mean, my pawn chain looks just brutal. Look at this pawn chain. How can you lose with this pawn chain? Even if I have to give up my dark squared bishop. But I don't have to. h6. Two knights against two bishops. He has some chances here. I have to play rook g8. He could have also played knight d6 there. I wasn't sure which was better. Now what's this? Knight f6 idea? Queen h3 is a scary move. What am I supposed to do? Are you kidding me? I almost just lost on time. Somewhat narrow escape. What? He does not want to give up, man. He was trying to kill me here. That's not fun. Not funny. Thought my mouse froze again. Whew, that was close. Man, I mean, you probably had something there. That was definitely touch and go. A little too closer than we like to cut it. A nice exhibition of the two knights. The potential of the two knights. You have ARX 205. Alright, ARX. We're playing E4, the move of the day. Oh. Yeah, something happened to the stream. Well, that's weird. Whoa, something really weird. Can you guys still hear me? Does everybody have the same problem with... I have an error I've never seen on... I have an error I've never seen on Twitch, actually. The same as... You just refresh the page. I guess we have to refresh the page. You guys lost your connection to Twitch. I did too. We have... ooh, I castled prematurely there. Anyway, it's still a good move. Some weird error with Twitch, but anyway, it's back up now. Actually, here Bishop C4 is kind of an interesting move, I would think. After A6. This looks a bit dangerous for black, honestly. You could even play knight takes E5, maybe. Rook E1. Yeah, the stream just had a weird glitch or error on Twitch, and if you had any problem, just refresh the stream. I just had to refresh once, and it's back up again. Kind of unusual line here. And F6 is... It's looking like a bad... It's actually looking like a bad kind of two knights defense. Where black's played A6 and F6. Kind of unusual position, though. I have to play D4. I mean, this has to be good. So welcome, everybody. We're doing Blitz and Classical Chess here instead of my Simul, which I usually do on Sundays because of a glitch on lichess. I think they added some new code, some new features for Simuls, and something got bugged out. So there's no Simul tonight. We're just going to be doing Blitz and Classical for another 45 minutes or so. If you don't know me, I'm International Master William Paschall. We are streaming from Budapest, Hungary. I do stream tomorrow and every day, Monday to Friday usually, but it's Central European time. So if you're watching me from the US, I don't normally, do this every night. Okay, so B5. We could... No, we can't take on D5. This is only a debate between Bishop... Yeah, there's no debate here. I mean, this is forced. Bishop B3. Really no debate. You could play... No, I don't want to play any other move. This is basically... That's it. This bishop needs to remain on this powerful diagonal. And I'm going to upload the stream, as I always do, to my YouTube channel. You can check it out. Video Chess Training on YouTube. I upload all my live streams and sometimes create some original content. Maybe do reviews of some games or simuls I played on lichess. This week, there will not be a simul review because there's no simul, unfortunately. We were very disappointed, but we did the best we could. We did some analysis of a game I played today. If you check out the video either on Twitch or when I upload it to YouTube, we did about 30 minutes of analysis of a tournament game I had. A kind of interesting 20 move draw against Hungarian junior talent. DST, you're having video problems. I kind of watch YouTube. It's saying error occurred. Try refreshing. But I don't know if YouTube can be related. So bishop b3. Bobby Richards says, I'm from US. Oh, GM Will Wolf, welcome, man. Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, it's nice to actually do a different event at a different time, because we were seeing some new faces or some old faces on the stream, you know, that I think people who don't normally get to watch. I also was streaming in the summertime in July and August from the US, and of course I had a kind of different audience with a different base time zone, and some of you guys like Will Wolf were watching me in my summertime stream. So bishop g4. Yeah, it's aggressive, ARX, but you're not supported. This media interface is not supported. And this is not supported. Basically, ARX has a good spirit. He wants to play aggressively, but he's too loose in poker terms. This is not healthy. So we're just winning a piece. b5, d5, bishop g4, too many loosening moves. Got to be very careful. His initial setup with knight on g to e7, this is a known line, Cosio defense, I think it's called. It actually was a little bit popular a few years ago. It started to be a little trendy. I don't know what the word on the street is with it now, but you know, like most side variations. I had a g6 today, a6 and g6, in my tournament game that I reviewed, a so-called Smyslov variation. These side variations of the Lopez are interesting, and if you play with white, you have to be prepared for everything. But as I told everybody on the stream, I was proud of today's game because it's my first e4 game in a tournament in something like 2 years. The last time I think I lost, maybe 2 years ago. I lost in a Sicilian. But I used to play e4 fairly regularly. It's just that as I became kind of inactive, I was playing more conservative stuff. But we've got to be willing to play a lot of different stuff, keep people off balance. In modern competitive chess, it's not enough to have just like a repertoire where you play one thing all the time. It's just people will just eat you alive. So we picked up 2 pieces. It's easy after that. Thank you for the game, sir. Alright, so we should be able to play like 3 more games. Franco 2000, Chef Master, King Chaser. And I can't guarantee more than that. We'll see what happens. Flipsync says, I had success with the Cosio, analyzed it quite effective for the not-prepared. Absolutely. Anything unusual and kind of hyper-modern I find to be effective. I mean, you're playing the black side of the Lopez, so it's not that hyper-modern, but knight on e7 is a bit... Be prepared for Shirov to unravel like an h4 on you fairly early. Oh, Franco 2000, I think he's one of my simul... Normally one of my simul players. We lost in a simul, we won in a simul, and... Oh, so he came from my simul, but he played instead blitz. He was maybe asking earlier, okay, where he was in the list. Alright, so Franco, I don't think we've played actually in a blitz game. 8-3 classical. Alright, let's play e5. How's the Cosio start out? Saltigo, it's like when you play knight on g to e7 with black in the Lopez instead of a6 or knight f6. I can show you if you want. No, I'm not going to play it now. I mean, I just don't know the theory at all. So I would have a clue with white, but with black, I really don't know what I'm doing. So if I play knight on g to e7, that's the so-called Cosio. It did have a bit of a trend a few years ago. It was trending, but I don't know if it's still peaking or not. All right, so we're gonna go with the old knight f6. Those that know me know that I'm not a native e4, e5 player, but I'm trying to learn, so please bear with me here. We've had a lot of Spanish games today with white, not so much with black. We had a Marshall, now rook e1, b5, but I don't really know the Marshall with black. I don't know it well enough with white either, but we are going to play a normal kind of Lopez. Closed Lopez, as they say. So welcome everybody, and we're going to be playing for like 40 more minutes. So check it out. I think 2 more challenges after this at least I'll be accepting. Tomorrow 10 a.m. CEST. Don't be late. So, okay, there's no h3 and there's no castles, but I have knight a5. If I play knight a5, you can play like d4. But then I take and there's some problems. No? I think this must be the right move. So d3 by Franco. A little early. It's not like it loses by force or something, because you give up the bishop. White should still probably be okay. Again, I'm not an expert on e4, e5 with either side, but especially with black. But I'm not in a hurry to take this. Maybe we wait for the optimal moment. Can you play 3 more challenges, says Mike. We're doing our best. But whoever challenged me to 5-0 should challenge me to 5-3, okay? So Mike, if that's you, or whoever it is, if you're challenging me to 5-0, please change the challenge to 5-3. Chef Master should be challenging me to 5-3 too, but I'll let it slide, the 5-2, because I'm in a generous mood today. And make sure it's not rated. Yeah, King Chaser's challenged me to rated. Try to sneak it in there. King Chaser, no rated games. You're going to have to change your challenge to standard, casual, okay? King Chaser played a nice game in my simul, and like I did a review about that game last week. He lost, but he shouldn't have lost, and it was instructive. Bishop e3. We're waiting to take here. I guess we'll play bishop b7. Something to be said for the bishop on its original square. You know, I mean, that piece is pretty active actually, but where to put it? It's usually best on the long diagonals. However, white has a very solid pawn structure here. The pawn chain c2, d3, e4. It's not easy to break it down. Salty goes out of here. Nice to see you, man. Can you play 3 more challenges? I'm pretty tired. I had a tournament game today, guys, so it wasn't an easy day. We're going to bail in about half an hour, 35 minutes. Knight takes b3. And he has a choice here. It's not trivial. You can take either way, I guess. If you prefer the perfect pawn chain, you can take with the queen. I like the pawn capture, though. I think it's more important that he has active play for the rook. I really have to think about pawn breaks for black here. By pawn breaks, I mean moves that attack the enemy pawn chain. You know, the fundamental pawn chain in this position is d3 and e4. So I want to try to attack that. If I could play f5, I would try to get it in. I know what I'm trying to do, and I think I know what he should try to do. But it's a question of figuring out how to optimally do it. Alright, let's try this move. It looks a little backward, but it's a pretty close position. And you can see what I'm really setting up here, I think. And it also supports the center. I mean, this is a typical retreat in the Ruy Lopez or Spanish game in many variations, because the knight actually supports the e5, the so-called strong point in the position. It's not just a passive retreat. This move has a lot of purposes, but one of them is to support the e5 square. If it's under siege by like d4 or something, it's defended already. It also unleashes, well, it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it opens up my bishop and queen. So you can imagine what I'm trying to do here. If you're a moderately advanced player, the knight has other potential things it could do. I mean, it could go to like f8 and e6. At the moment, I wouldn't want to go to c5 because of the bishop on e3, but potentially. Move 11, what's up? Good to see you. Sorry we couldn't do the simul today. Probably you regular simul people. What tourney did I play in? Today was the first round of the Hungarian Team Championship. It's a team tournament, spaced out over a long period of time. We play one match every few weeks. And I drew with a young Hungarian player around 2400 ELO. I'm not really excited because I didn't win, but there was some possibility that I created a new idea in the opening, which is kind of always cool. But I'm not sure yet. It was a Spanish game with bishop b5 and g6 by black. No, a6, bishop a4 and g6. The so-called Smyslov system. But I think that you can play with or without a6, you know, and I'm not sure. I think a6 is considered a little more accurate. Black has more options after a6, bishop a4, g6 than if you play g6 straight away on move 3 for black. We were following an old game for the first 7 moves or so, 6 or 7 moves. Kasparov Smyslov from 1981. Now f5 is very interesting. He's got 3 pieces controlling the g5 square. But if I go f5, we're going to get play. We have better development. The knight is blocked on b1. I'm not sure what I would suggest for white in that position, honestly. I don't know. He's misplayed the opening a bit. Maybe now he tried bishop g5. It looks like we're just winning because, or maybe not. Maybe it's not so easy. We're not just winning, but we're in good shape here. Let's execute the plan. And by the way, I mean, this exchange of bishops is very bad for white. He's exchanging my my bad bishop, which kind of helps me in a way. Although in chess there are a lot of conflicting factors, so you could argue that, and this would actually have some basis, you could argue that Franco is actually trading off one of a powerful bishop pair in this position. So it's one of the situations where there's two things going on and two rules, fundamental rules. I think it's more important here that he's kind of wasted some time. Black has a very, very strong attack now. Knight c5 almost wins by force. Rook takes f3 doesn't work, of course, because the bishop takes e7. We have interesting exchange sacrifices. I mentioned earlier that this knight square was available, and here it's particularly effective. He left e3, so we've got this. Knight takes b3, and we've got e4. And a very, very powerful attack for black. So I think white is right on the verge of lost here. And I mean, I'm looking for some kind of fantastic exchange sacrifice, but I'm not sure if it's objectively enough or not. Take, knight e6. He might be able to defend. Take, knight e6. It looks pretty good, man. I'm going to do this. I mean, this looks like a really dangerous exchange sacrifice. Positional exchange sacrifice. And this is... It's a bit speculative. I didn't need to sacrifice material in this position because I have a strong position. I've sacrificed the whole exchange for a mating attack, and maybe it would have been safer to do something else. But I didn't really see a great defense, and I'm sure that I have overwhelming play here, more or less. So we really need to get the last piece in the game. This guy. I think queen e2 actually kind of serves to, in a way, it kind of like chokes the white king a little bit in this position. We have a strong attack. I don't know if it's quite enough or not. It feels like it should be. It really feels like it should be. We have multiple avenues for the knight now. Knight g5 or knight f4. That's probably important. If I throw the queen into h4, and then I have a choice, between knight f4, knight g5, and he really can't see which way it's coming from if I go that route here. Although his last move looks pretty interesting. Knight f4 is probably right now, because as I said, I want to choke him in. I thought that, actually I think I had a hallucination. Well, no, if I play something like, okay, king h2, if I play something like queen h4, I thought he has rook g1 and some kind of defensive ideas there. That's why I wanted to play knight f4 first. And probably black is winning here. There's really going to be no way to stop like a triple threat. At the very least, some sort of triple threat against h3. But maybe the easiest is bishop c8. This is going to flush out his queen. What is it the easiest? Bishop c8. Yeah, that looks brutal. Although he has queen g1. Might be better to do rook f6 first. Just to kill the queen g1 idea. Now all the pieces are working. 1, 2, 3, 4. White's pieces are all in the back rank. Blocked in. His king is choked in on h2. No swearing, no spamming, no bullying. Oh, Moobot. Moobot loves DST. No fun. If I ever heard of the Bulgarian GM Veselin Topalov, of course. I never actually met him. Yeah, we all know who Veselin is. So this is really strong. Now we actually win pretty much by force. I think this was a pretty... I'm saying pretty too much. This is a pretty solid actual option for white, this queen g3. It may look crazy, but that's probably his best defense. And I don't have any mates. No mates, it looks like. It's a pity. It's possible it wasn't the best move for me. And do I have anything fancy here? Well, I've given up quite a bit of material. So I really need to like win heavy material. Sacrifice more. Probably not. I need to get back to reality here. So Franco hanging on there, he actually, you know, has some practical chances in like a blitz game. Objectively, it should be lost. Knight c1, picking off another pawn. Let's be greedy. I don't see a better move. Collect what I can collect. We'll be up a pawn and a bishop for 2 rooks. It's pretty crushing. A pawn and a bishop for 2 rooks. I mean, a pawn and a bishop and a queen for 2 rooks. Obviously more than a pawn and a bishop. But he's fighting. He's fighting it out. I respect that. It's a weird enough material balance that I could make some sort of mistake and lose. I also like this move, b4. Knight d3. My knight kind of gets close to being trapped after knight d3. So I think it's best not to do that. But he's almost kind of consolidated. Still, it's too much material. A queen and bishop for 2 rooks. Not to mention the extra pawn. But I'm not really happy with my technique. It looked like I should have been able to win a little cleaner without any sort of counterplay. I don't know, bishop c8. Yeah, we could probably provoke some more weaknesses with this. Provoke a weakening of his king side. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Provoking weaknesses. And rook e2. He's really got no way in to get me, but I've got ways in to get him. I mean, he put up a good amount of resistance, honestly. Now h5 starts to look pretty strong. All right, Franco, good try, but not enough there. Chef Master challenged me to 5-2. King Chaser still challenged me to rated. He did not hear my cry. Champion still challenged me to 5-0. You guys, if you guys want to play, you've got to change those challenges to non-rated with increment. Kudos to finding Queen G3. That looks like it was the best try. Yeah. Why aren't you playing rated games? The GMs always play rated games. I don't know what you mean by that. If there's any GMs that do exactly what I do. But thanks for the comparison. Yeah, I like telling other people like the good moves during the rated game and having them play it against me. You know, it makes sense. if I'm like playing in a tournament or something where like the player I'm playing isn't listening to the stream, it would absolutely make sense, you know, to play rated games. But if I'm telling people and trying to teach them and they're listening to my comments and then knowing what I'm thinking, it's kind of a disadvantage. We tried the rated games, and besides the fact that I'm telling people what to do and helping them and using a lot of time, I'm also having problems because people are trolling me with computer accounts. So there's just a multitude of problems with that. E4 Chefmaster, you're up. I don't know if he's here. Well, if I was a GM or not GM, I still wouldn't play rated games. It wouldn't depend on my title. You know, I think it's defeating the idea here. Chefmaster's not here. I guess I'm gonna just cancel this challenge. He doesn't seem to be here. We'll give him like 30 seconds. King Chaser still challenged me to rated. I'll go with Queen Skr from Russia if I don't get another challenge. I don't know how long Chefmaster waited, but we'll give him 30 seconds more. Yeah, I should play rated bullet games on the stream. That's my specialty. So, alright, I'm going to bag this challenge. I don't know where Chefmaster is. He seems to be out of the office. So, we're going to play... King Chaser didn't change his challenge to unrated. So, I'm going to play Queen SCR. Alright, Queen SCR. Good luck, man. So... this might be the last game if it's a long one. If it's not a long one, I could play one more blitz game. Mike says, accept my challenge, please. You're the champion. Champion, yeah. You're just too far down in the list at the moment. So I would love to play, but I really have to honor, you know, people's challenges in the order that I got them. Queen SCR. I would love to stream for another hour, guys, but I really had a long day, so we were normally playing the simul tonight. This is just a one-time deal. Although I will be back tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock CET, Central European Time. Actually, I made an inaccurate move. It's very bad to play knight f6. Not very bad, but it's not the best move. His opening's not that accurate, and I should play d5 here. This is clearly the best. It's basically like a reverse Marshall defense, where white can probably fight for equality at best. However, after b3, we still have d5, and it's probably even stronger now. Yeah, Mike, I'll just accept your challenge in front of the other people. Bishop g5, just slip me $100, you know, under the table, and we'll talk about it. Bishop g5 here. Anyway, guys, speaking of $100, if you could donate like $5 a year to support my stream, or $10 a year to support my stream, support the YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. I really appreciate anybody who did support the channel, who does. And I support the other guys who can't. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. I appreciate you guys just coming here and watching the stream and supporting by like taking part. That's awesome too. And Jeroen, our moderator, deserves a lot of credit too. So Bishop g5, this is pretty provocative, but I don't think objectively good. Probably would be better if this pawn wasn't on b3 in this position. Knight e4, interesting move, but not necessarily best. You have to ask a computer, I guess. I'm going to play e5. So e5, challenging the powerful knight on d4, opening up the bishop on f8. We have some lines where we might make a check on b4, a5, but oftentimes it's not necessarily good. I mean, if white can play c3, may not really benefit black. This exchange on f6 looks dubious, but he has a trick. It looks like queen takes f6, knight b5. A very strange move. And the idea is bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, knight b5, queen d8, queen takes d5, queen takes d5, knight c7, check, forking and winning a pawn. So, well, we might have some kind of tactics, like queen takes, knight b5, bishop c5, threatening mate on f2. If knight c7 check, king d8, queen takes d5 check. That's kind of nasty there, actually. I have to play, yeah, knight c7 check, king f8. I would have to play. That looks sort of problematic for me. There's nothing wrong with taking with a pawn here for black. Absolutely. I'm just thinking, is there anything better? I guess I'll just take with the pawn. I mean, it doesn't look that clear to me about this knight b5 thing. So we have basically, I think, a pretty good sort of Trompowsky for black. Yeah, DST, that's what I did. Yeah. The other line was interesting enough that I wanted to really have a good hard look at it, because there are quite a few interesting tactical possibilities there. Now, I think he just loses a piece. Queen a5 check, followed by d4 or bishop to b4. And it's yeah, I mean, he traded off the bishop that's actually, you know, necessary to the defense of these dark squares. So here we have maybe bishop b4 is more accurate. This develops a piece. You know, if you play d4, you're not actually developing a piece. I'm even looking at bishop b4, queen takes d5, bishop takes c3 check, king d1. But that's really kind of bizarre. I mean, d4 is also just as winning, I guess. Doesn't hang the pawn on d5. There's an argument for that. An argument for not hanging the d5 pawn is pretty strong. Okay, I'm sure there's a win after bishop b4, queen takes d5, but whatever. It's a piece up. White doesn't have any tricks. But if white had played carefully instead of knight to b5, you know, knight f3, I guess, only move, then it's not that bad. I mean, white's position might be only slightly worse, I would say. He might even be almost equal, but it's probably not really fun. He's gonna have to play like e3, c3. Still not that easy for black to get the advantage after knight f3 here. Knight f3, e3, c3. It's some chances for white to get a reasonable game. Now we just take and we're up clear piece. He has one check that doesn't do anything on d6. I just take it off. So it's all good. If there's a blitz game, I might accept one more challenge. King Chaser still rated. Pilot 100. CEF3 is... He challenged me. We got all kinds of random challenges because I don't normally do this on Sunday, so they don't know my normal routine, but I'm usually 5 to 8 minutes of the small increment. We got 15. Computer win is not going to play me. We're not going to play 15. The 4-1 game, that's not our time control. Yeah, and these are pretty long. So I might just finish up the stream here with this game. I would play like a 5-3 type challenge if anybody wants to throw one out there. That would be the maximum I can do. So 96 check at the end of the day. And we've got just developed the pieces. Actually, f6 hanging. Can never be too careful. There's a check here. That doesn't seem like a legitimate possibility. Bishop e6, we're in business. Everything's protected. There's no bishop e5, no bishop c4. He's going to castle queenside and get mated in 2, hopefully. And we can end it quickly. Or not, because I don't have queen a3. I thought I had queen a3. I just realized. I could lose. Castles queenside, queen a3 check. Queen takes a3, resigns. And I have done things like that in the past. b4. That's a good try. Guess we're going to b6. How can you spend 10 seconds on that move? Which move? You mean him or me? Me because I'm trying to explain things. Him because he's trying to learn. It's not a bullet tournament. For those of you that don't know me, the goal of my stream is to try to kind of teach chess and learn, and not just for the viewers, but for me too. I get a lot out of these streams, especially against the stronger players, because we're not always playing against beginners. Oftentimes in my streams, almost all the players are around like candidate master strength, or many of them, so it's usually quite challenging. Knight to d7 or knight c6 here. He's playing for mate, and he also has seen some threats. I guess I just trade queens. What am I thinking about? It's just, you know what? I mean, if I trade queens, it's going to take me another 20 moves to win. It's objectively a good move. If I was playing in a bullet tournament and berserking, it's probably not the best. But I don't play bullet. And I rarely berserk, even in the blitz tournaments. Although sometimes, if I need to. Man, I'd like to get a passed A pawn going here. Yeah, if you want to challenge, you can challenge me to a 5-3 game. That's about all I have time for. I can't, you know, anyway, King Chaser didn't change his challenge. And I can't really stay up. I'm going to fall asleep soon. We can't play any more 8-minute games. Mirza Yakabadze challenged me to 3-3. If nobody else challenges me to 5-3, I'm going to go with that. Kind of finish up the stream today. The Queen's scores got me down to 127. I have to watch the clock here. He's very cagey. I want this A pawn. Now, I really thought you should have played bishop g4 there right away. Then if bishop e6, you can at least be annoying with f5. Objectively, white is lost in every variation, but now I can just play bishop e6. Okay, I guess this is what he wanted. He wanted to stir up some trouble. And now we actually have to be a little bit careful. Just have a check on d7. This is getting kind of weird. Getting kind of weird. But we can live with that. Almost have a mate. But queen square is kind of tricky. He's got this threats going on. Knight takes e3. What's the best move here? We should have enough time to trade off one of these offensive pieces. But I got to give him credit for defense. He's pretty pretty cagey down a piece. I underestimated him a little bit. Thank you, Siroche. So I'm only gonna play like one more quick game. King Chaser changed his challenge to 5-3 rated. He just can't get. I think he must have a setting where he only plays rated. He can't get off the rated challenges. Poor Queen Square forgot that f7 is protected. That's kind of an optical illusion. I think he must have seen it and then forgot because he was like thinking forever. But if you saw it was protected, you wouldn't think for that long. All right, guys. Those challenges I can't accept. They don't fit my Santiago Hart from position. What is that from position? I'm gonna play Mirza Yakabadze, one quick 3-3 game, and that's it. We're gonna finish it up here today with 3-3, bending the rules a little bit. I don't really know play 3 minute, but we're really tired, and I want to play one more game. Thanks everybody for joining me in advance. Now Mirza probably won't show up. Thanks everyone for joining me. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube, and if you're interested in lessons or training or have any kind of questions or suggestions, please send an email to my email address. That's my wrong address. To my email address, videochesstrainer@gmail.com. Crazy is the beginning of another email address. So videochesstrainer@gmail.com if you're interested in contacting me. This is 3 minutes. I got to play fast. Despite what people think, I'm actually fast enough when I need to be. But 3 minute with a 3-second increment is pretty luxurious time. Whoa. So we're in our favorite classical Sicilian line. Mirza Yakabadze, probably from the Georgian Republic. Okay, Rook c8, and now Queen a5 here allows Knight b3. I can't do that, so I have to take on d4 first, and then play Queen a5. Well, you know your line, man. A lot of people don't know this line. Around your rating, around 1800, a lot of people are just on their own. When you play Bishop d7, they don't know the theory of the Richter-Rauser this deep. In this sort of unusual sideline with Bishop to d7. Santiago Hart, sorry, that was the position I was studying. Yeah, I can't accept the from position challenge. Yeah, f4. So Rook takes c3. We played a lot on the stream. It's, in my opinion, kind of better for white. So I'm going to play another line we've studied a bit here. This is much less common. Mirza Yakabadze with the theory coming at me. The very important theoretical position for the survival of this variation for black. Not just is Mirza playing book, but a critical line that threatens the survival of this entire variation. This is the last game, man. Bishop takes f6. Probably doesn't threaten the survival of the variation, but it's probably not a bad move either. So, what do you want to do? You want to win a pawn, or are you just trying to double my pawns up? I admire a player who takes their time, uses their time. If you don't like to think or use time, you should probably try a different game. That would be my advice. Rook g8. Something like, I don't know, spin and goes on Poker Stars. Rook to g8 would be compensation for material. I haven't really analyzed this position a whole lot, but it looks like the bishop pair should give black pretty good long-term prospects. Now, very sensible retreat. And we're down a pawn, but we have some chances. Maybe b5. As I said, I haven't really concretely analyzed this. b5, I don't know about b5. a3, then what? Bishop g7, queen takes d6 is no good. Maybe a6. We're going to have to take a look at this because I'm not sure I really have enough compensation here. I haven't analyzed it enough in detail. I do remember the engine said that black has enough or close to enough compensation, but I'm going to need to take a closer look. Maybe it's not objectively enough for black. It's probably critical play. Best possible. One of the best possible variations. We can play like this and just be down a pawn with some compensation. I would recommend black trying for more, though. Yeah, white's just played perfectly. Now maybe b5. I don't know, he's 1800, but he's played like a GM thus far. Although bishop takes f6 is not the most popular move for white, it is a dangerous move that deserves serious consideration. Here, I don't know. a5 probably. I think black has some compensation, probably not enough. So I don't know. I don't know what to think. Maybe I have to re-evaluate this entire line. If I have to play in something instead of rook takes c3, I can also play h6. If we have to rehabilitate this variation, if e6 is no good and this guy refutes it, then we have to play h6, which is a known variation and also quite interesting. So maybe Mirza will force us to rethink our opening choice. A very interesting sacrifice there. Check it out. He's got knight e4 coming. But I do have now bishop c6. I think that's good for me. I hope it is. Hopefully white overlooked that. In that case, black should be okay now. Not necessarily better, but black is probably okay getting the pawn back here. And Mirza with the dangerous opening knowledge. b4 is interesting. Oh man, I'm about to lose on time. Black shouldn't be worse. Possibly better because of the bishop pair. But it was a tragic blunder. Mirza tried for a tactic there. It wasn't necessary. Wasn't necessarily like simple play would have left him pawn up. And that is an oversight. So he knows his openings. Good game, man. I mean, just you tried for the e5 there. There's no need to do that. You're up a pawn. And I don't think I really equalized or came close. I don't know, though. After queen c5, I'm probably like clearly worse. I shouldn't trade queens, but I'm not sure that I have enough compensation. Anyway, interesting opening. I have to take a look at that because it's probably a little bit dubious for black. Thank you for filling me in. I'd like to thank everybody for joining my stream today. Sorry there was no simul. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more Blitz and Classical Chess, 10 a.m. CET. And again, thanks to everybody. Hey, Shevaningen, what's up, man? Sorry you arrived so late. Always late. So, thanks, guys, again. Have a good night. Have a happy Halloween tomorrow. And I'll be here 10 a.m. Halloween time with Blitz and Classical Chess. Thanks, Jeroen. And we'll see you guys later. Hisset Nuns. What's up, guys? See you guys later. Bye-bye.